It is Monday, the 12th of January 2026. Hello and welcome to my next lot of spoiler-free vlogs. I am planning on checking in at least once a day. Sometimes it'll be more than once, who knows, but at least once a day to give you my spoilery thoughts and feelings on what I am reading while I am reading it. If you are not a fan of spoilers, these videos may not be for you, but the good news is every single week I still do a general weekly vlog where I talk in a spoiler-free way about what I have been reading each and every single week. So now that you have been warned, grab yourself something nice to drink, something good to eat. We will jump into this segment, and then following this segment, we'll get to the next one. I'm just going to stitch them all together for you, and yeah, you will hear my spoilery rambling thoughts as we go along. So let's do this. So I'm currently reading this book, Moonstruck by Omni James. This is book number 3 in the Necessary Evil series, and I actually have book 1 and 2 over there, so I'm just going to quickly go and grab them. Okay, so this is book 1, Unhinged, and this is book 2, Psycho. Currently working on book 3, Moonstruck. So let me catch you up by setting you up with this series so that we can talk about book number 3. Now, for those of you who did not see the weekly vlog or monthly wrap that I did pertaining to this particular book, I actually picked up this book knowing nothing about the series. I looked at the cover and I went, hello. I want to read this book. I don't care what it's about. So I picked it up, and I absolutely not only fell in love with the book, but fell in love with Omni James as a writer. This series is an adult dark romance series. So in this first book, that is dual perspective, we follow Adam and Noah. Adam is a Mulvaney. Now, what does that mean? Well, Mulvaney is a family surname. Adam, along with 6, 7, I think, other boys, have been adopted by their adopted father, who is a scientist who is trying to work on an experiment with boys that have been diagnosed as being psychopaths. He wants to change the idea that psychopath is a term that is, perceived with very negative connotations, and show that it actually can be a good thing. So what Mr. Mulvaney wants to do is raise these boys to use their psychopathic abilities to rid the world of evil. And by evil, we're not referring to fantasy here. We are referring to criminals who commit the most heinous of crimes, who get very lenient sentences, if not nothing, because they get away with their crime. And so, to put it in very plain terms, Mr. Mulvaney is raising his sons to go out and literally kill these people who have committed these bad crimes. So there's your dark side as a generalization. Also, because we are dealing with the Mulvaney family, in every single book we follow a different adopted son of Mr. Mulvaney. So in book 1 we follow Adam, in book 2 we follow August, and the current one I'm reading, Moonstruck, in book 3 we follow Atticus. Now, yes, they all have A names. It's explained quite early on in book number 2 that whatever names the boys had prior to their adoption, Mr. Mulvaney asks them to change it to a name that they want to call themselves that starts with the letter A. I don't know why, but anyway, I don't remember why, but anyway, that's not the point. So that is your dark contemporary side, I suppose, if you will, in that we have these boys that are psychopaths raised to weed out these evildoers by killing them off, and Mr. Mulvaney teaches them all the skills that they need to learn to not only be able to pull it off, but to pull it off successfully without being, caught and stuff like that, and not leaving a trace of evidence behind, and all this kind of stuff. But also, it's a dark romance series, and so therefore, in every single book, while we do follow a different Mulvaney adopted son, that son ends up getting involved in a relationship. So in book number 1, We have Adam, who ends up hooking up with Noah. Noah is a victim in the sense that his father was actually killed by Adam. His father was a very horrible man, and Noah found out that Adam was the guy who killed him, so he confronts him very early on. I think it's like in chapter 1 or chapter 2. And confronts him very early on, and Adam ends up revealing over the course of time what Noah's father had done. Noah ends up revealing to Adam things that his father had also done to him, and we work out that there's a whole lot more going on than just this one guy, Noah's father, and we end up dealing with that. Along the way, and this is the point I want to make is the dark romancy side. Along the way, we learn that because Adam is a psychopath, he can't really feel, and while Noah is attracted to Adam, Adam's feelings, they're not really there. He enjoys having sex and things like that, but because he is a psychopath, he can't reciprocate love. Noah ends up being okay with that, and they end up getting into a relationship where behind closed doors, even though it's an open door spice situation, but to use the term behind closed doors, Adam dominates Noah in the bedroom. The reason I bring this up is because in book number 2, we have a very similar situation. August ends up being a guy named Lucas. Lucas ends up needing help with the situation because Lucas has psychic abilities. There is no paranormal or fantasy in book 1. There is in book 2. Lucas is what I call a seer. He can see things. And he sees these women who are being horribly abused. And so, to cut a very long story very short, August is going to help Lucas deal with that situation alongside his family and everything that they have at their disposal to fix this situation. But my point is that August also ends up dominating Lucas in the bedroom. So the theme that we're getting with both of these books is that the Mulvaney family member enters into a not necessarily a lovey-dovey relationship, but a relationship nonetheless where behind closed doors they dominate their love interest. Now that you know that, let's turn our attention to book number 3, where we follow Atticus. I was really surprised going into this book that the very first spicy scene took place very quickly, and within a couple of chapters we had 3 spicy moments between August and his his love interest, whose name in this case is Jericho. Usually, at least with books 1 and 2, the spice is very incredibly minimal, so I was surprised that we got a lot of spice so early on, back to back to back. And even one of Jericho's friends, no, not Jericho's, someone who works for Atticus's family, this woman who they've never seen face to face, but she kind of does the, behind the scenes data, internet, coding stuff for them, research and whatever. She, I think her name's Calliope or something. Anyway, she ends up saying to Atticus, so you've seen this guy 3 times already and done different things with him 3 times already, what the heck? And even I was having that same reaction. But the interesting thing with this one, and I don't know how I feel about it, there is the does it make sense answer being yes, and then there is the is this what I wanted answer being no, in that unlike with Adam and August, Atticus, in his relationship with Jericho, is actually the one that's being dominated. That actually surprised me. So, does it make sense? Yes, because we want it to be more well-rounded. We've already met 2 Mulvaney family members who prefer to dominate in their relationships. You know what I mean? I'm just going to say relationship. But it's relationship. In their relationship. And so it just really surprised me that Atticus doesn't want to dominate. I guess I just assumed that he would. So I don't know if I like that or not. One thing I definitely did not like was the amount of spice that just hits you over the head. It was like back to back to back spice before we really got that far into anything. So fortunately now, the spice has kind of cooled down and we're getting to the point of the book. I don't mind spice in my reads, clearly. I read a lot of dark romance. I have no issue with spice, but I don't go into books to read them for the spice. I go in for everything else, and if spice is there, it's more just like a bonus. Like, oh, okay, yay, there's an open door spicy moment. Yay. Great, it adds to the story, but I'm there for the storyline, and this just felt like smut at the beginning, which was really weird. So I'm waiting to see what's going to happen now. Jericho's sister, I believe, was killed. I'm still trying to recall if that's the case. Let's just see. Just a moment. Yeah, I was right. I just want to make sure. So, because it's been a couple of hours since I last picked this up, and I only read today for about 15 minutes, so I'm just refreshing myself. Yeah, so Jericho's sister was killed. We don't know how, we don't know why, and he wants to solve this, and so that's what brings about the standard trope that we're getting in this series, where the Mulvaney family is getting involved, headlined by the love interest, in this case being Atticus, to find out what is going on. Now, the great thing about this series is they're not individual books. It's still part of the series. We just follow different perspectives in each book, but we see the other family members. Case in point, in book number 2, remember how I told you we followed August and his love interest Lucas is a seer? We end up going to Lucas in this book because Lucas is able to touch Jericho's sister's body and see what she had gone through, and so now we're going to try and resolve that. So it was a really interesting start for me, in that, why is Atticus allowing Jericho to dominate him? This doesn't seem very Mulvaney-like, and it really threw me for a loop. But again, I'm kind of weighing things up at the moment, going, okay, I mean, it only wants it to be, only James the author wants it to be more well-rounded. And now we've had 2 Mulvaney family members who dominate relationships, so now we're going to have a submissive one. But it just, I don't know. I don't necessarily like it. Have you ever had those moments when you read books where you're like, I get it, I totally get why this is happening, but I don't necessarily like it? That's kind of where I'm at. So I'm going to see. I'm going to keep going. I did think earlier today that I would have this book finished by the end of the day, but that won't happen. There were other things that did come up. So I will keep reading today and probably have it finished tomorrow. You'll see me check in again later and give some more thoughts and feelings, but that's where things stand with me currently. It's not a bad book. It's just different to what I expected. Hello, spoiler sparklers, Mr. Francy back here once again to check in, because today is the, what day is it? Tuesday. I don't know what day it is anymore. Tuesday the 13th of January 2026 at 6:43 p.m. I have just finished Moonstruck by Only James, and it's, yeah, I mean, it let me down. I ended up ultimately giving the book 4 stars, but let me explain why. This book was an average book for Only James, but an average book for Only James is an, above average book otherwise, if that makes sense. So it's more that I feel like Only James let me down rather than the book if I was just judging it as a standard male dark romance. Yeah, it didn't really improve. I thought that the crime that we're trying to deal with, because like with Cozy Mysteries where you're trying to solve a mystery, with this series in every book there is a crime that has occurred and we're trying to get justice. So with that crime side of the dark romance, the dark side if you will, I thought that was good. I thought that was really entertaining. But as far as the romance side, I just really didn't enjoy it. So, yeah, that was a letdown. I really wish that Atticus had been the dominating character in the relationship between him and Jericho. It just felt really, really off to me that Only James placed a Mulvaney brother in front of me that was submissive. It felt really weird. And I'm not saying that I can't like a main character that is submissive, not at all. It's just that it doesn't fit the series, so it just really annoyed me. But I am continuing on with the series. I love the series overall as a whole anyway, and next month I'm actually in February doubling up on my Necessary Evils because I was planning to read book 4, and then I found out there's actually a book 3.5, so I'm going to read book 3.5 and book 4 in the month of February. But, this one was a bit of a blip for me in the series, and that happens. It even happens in my cozy sometimes where I go, I wasn't a big fan of this one, but it's all good. There are others that I loved, and so, I'm just kind of glad that I finished the book. Also, the artistry, I'm really not happy with it because... Hang on, let me take a closer look. So, the Mulvaney brother Atticus is referred to by his love interest Jericho as Freckles because he has a term of endearment because he has freckles on his nose, and I'm not seeing freckles on this guy's nose anywhere. So, it's kind of annoying. Maybe I'm just not looking close enough, but I wish they were a little more pronounced because he's called Freckles like almost every chapter by the love interest, so you would think that the artist would make a point of making that distinction, given we have the snake tattoo that we can see here, and on other covers that I've seen with tattoos, they can be very detailed with the tattoo. This one seems to be very simplistic, but still, you would think that they would, want to make a point of that. Anyway, the book is done. I'm glad it's done. And believe you me, I'm looking forward to getting on to book 4. I'm looking forward to going to. I don't know why we're having a novella, book 3.5. It just feels really random. So we'll see how I feel about that one. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting on to book number 4 because I do believe we follow one of the twins in book number 4. So I'm really intrigued to see how, especially in that prologue chapter, which all the prologue chapters in all these books talk to us about how that Mulvaney member, where they were, how they got adopted by Mr. Mulvaney and changed their name to the A name and all that kind of stuff. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes with the twin that we follow, because there's one set of twins in this family, in case you weren't aware, in book number 4, and we'll see how we go book 3.5. I'm now moving on to Death of a Tom Turkey, which by Lee Hollis is book number, I don't even know anymore, but quite a distant book. The latest release anyway in the Hayley Powell Food and Cocktail Cozy Mystery series. It's an adult cozy mystery. And I keep thinking of the Muppets Christmas Carol. I don't know which character it is, but he says, "Get your Christmas turkey! Get your Christmas turkey!" So it's like, Death of a Tom Turkey! But anyway, I'm really, really excited to get back to this world. I love my Hayley Powell. I love the mixed media, the fact that we have standard prose mixed with the article, whatever, the column, whatever you want to call it, that Hayley writes, which it talks about a random moment in one of her days of her lives that connects to a cocktail and recipe. But I also love Hayley as a character as well, and I love her friends and all of that. So I'm very intrigued to see how this one is going to go. So I'll check back in with you all tomorrow and let you know how things are going. It is Thursday, the 15th of January, 2026. It is currently 4:22 p.m. I forgot to check in yesterday, so I apologize about that. I haven't read today, so I figured I'll do a quick check-in now, and then I can check in again later on today. So I'm currently reading Death of a Tom Turkey, and I have to say that it didn't start out all that great. So we have our usual setup that we have when it comes to cozy mysteries, where we, follow a protagonist who is trying to solve sorry, just getting everything up, the notes that I made yesterday, in case I forgot. We follow our protagonist, Hayley Powell, who, at the beginning of the series, is a columnist who, basically, she writes a column about a day in her life and follows it up with a cocktail as well as a culinary recipe. And in this one, as with most cozy mysteries, there is a murder and we're trying to solve the murder. at the beginning of the book when when the fatality occurred, because we have this guy Tom who is a bit of a grouch, and there's a lot going on with Tom that we learn as we progress further throughout the book. But at the beginning of the book, Tom is put into a very vulnerable position. He's taken to hospital. He does survive, but then ultimately he comes out of hospital and then he does die. So at the beginning, when he is in that very vulnerable position, Haley just jumps into sleuthing mode, and it felt very robotic for me. So once the incident had occurred, Haley just seemed to go from person to person trying to work out who harmed Tom, where there really felt like there was no need for it. Tom was alive, he was in hospital, there was no reason to think he was gonna die, he was totally fine. And the way that Haley went about talking to her suspects, it very much just felt, as I said, quite robotic, quite formulaic. Like, okay, so Tom lived here and these people surrounded him. So I knew I had to talk to person A. So we speak to person A, and now we have to speak to person B, and now we have to speak to person C. And there was no emotion behind it at all, which really annoyed me. Then eventually we get the death, which is quite a horrible death. So Tom ends up coming out of hospital, and actually, going back a step, prior to Tom coming out of hospital, Haley learns that the areas that surround, not the areas, but Tom's farm and the places that surround Tom's farm are all being offered a very generous amount of money to sell their land so that it can be converted into something. I don't remember what it was, but I think it's like a hotel or something, I don't know. But anyway, everyone had agreed except for Tom, who said that he wasn't going to sell no matter what the cost, because, as I said, they were all given generous offerings, and the offer kept being upped for Tom, and Tom just, flat out refused no matter what the offer was. So Haley's starting to think that maybe one of his neighbors could be the ultimate killer, because once Tom is out the way, Tom's property can be sold by whoever he bequeaths it to, and then everything will be fine. So ultimately, Tom is murdered by way of wood chipper, which is a bit gritty for a cozy mystery series, to be honest. But anyway, letting that go. And we also find out during the reading of the will that Tom has left everything to this daughter that no one even knew Tom had. And this woman who is a reclusive, she has agoraphobia and stays in her home and works out of her home. But Haley cons her into leaving the home so she can have the will read, which also felt very uncomfortable to read as well. Like forcing her out of her house when she's agoraphobic. I mean, can't we just go on like Zoom or something, or FaceTime or whatever? But anyway, whatever. So the reclusive woman, she and Tom had a very uncomfortable relationship. Tom kept letting his turkeys onto her property, and that really upset her. When they go for the reading of the will, the agoraphobic woman finds out that Tom did leave her something, his turkeys, which pisses her off even more, and I can understand that. Meanwhile, the daughter that no one knew anything about is with this guy who is very much seen as a gold digger, because he seems to just be telling her what to do and things like that. Like he's in it for this newfound wealth that she has, basically. And this daughter and the gold digger have decided in Tom's name to keep the property and not sell it. So, yeah, we got all that we are dealing with. Eventually, we end up finding a number one suspect, and the case goes to trial. One thing that I am loving about this book is that it has suddenly turned into a courtroom drama where for multiple chapters we're in a courtroom watching a court proceeding. And if you know me, you know I love my court dramas. I've never seen something play out in court in multiple chapters in a cozy mystery, but that's definitely my biggest pro. I feel like this story is very much a slow burn. It's getting better as I go along, but the beginning was just really, really, really rough for me. And as I said, when Haley was going person to person at the beginning and, trying to question everyone, It felt like, she was taking a stroll in the park. There was no emotion to it or anything like that. She felt very disconnected, which something I've always loved about Amateur Sleuths is that there's a reason why they're trying to solve whatever the mystery is, whether it's the right reason, which could be it's someone they know, someone they care about, and they want to get to the bottom of it, or not necessarily a right reason, but they're very intrigued, even if it's just intrigue. The intrigue has emotion shining through. Haley Powell just seems to be on autopilot, and that really annoys me. And also, every chapter ends the same way, and it's starting to feel, I don't want to say it's AI, because it's not. It's Lee and Hollis. They've been writing this series for a long time, but the conclusion for every chapter ends with a "we must continue" type of sentence. I mean, let me just pull up a random chapter here. Let's see. Okay, the end of no, not that one. Okay, because of course it's going to spite me. The end of chapter. Okay, that's a Island Times article. I apologize. Okay, so the end of chapter 15 says, Tom Farley might have survived the shooting, but it seemed that his luck had finally run out. So it's like edge of your seat with the chapter, but that would have been fine if it was random. But then let's look at how chapter 16 ended. As they all picked up their drinks and moved towards the beautifully set dining room table, the awkwardness lingered like a shadow, darkening what was supposed to be a festive evening. And then I'll quickly go to chapter 17, and its conclusion is... And tomorrow they would start digging deeper into the shadows where the truth was hiding, determined to find out who really had pushed Tom Farley into that wood chipper. It felt... The way these conclusions to chapters are stitching to the rest of the chapter, it feels very formulaic. Like, I feel like this would be the perfect book to read if you're reading it to, well, I mean, you can't really read to a child because it's about murder, but say you were reading it to, like, a child or a younger teenager or someone who could handle a murder mystery, basically, and you read a chapter a night, it would be very intriguing. A great way to end off the chapter. But for someone like me who reads my cozies in 2 days, it's just like enough already. I also don't feel the passion of Lee and Hollis. I've loved this series for a long time. This is the latest release that they have. I'll check what book number it is. Just a moment. Okay, so it's book number 18. So, seriously, I've read every single book in the series, now onto this last one. It's been a very long ride. I don't want to be the one to say it, but Lee and Hollis, I think it may be time to pack up and move on from this series, because the love that was there for the first, and I mean, it's been a while, granted, since I read book 18, and I've also read a lot of other cozy mystery between reading book 18 and this one. So maybe that is influencing me a lot. When I read the very first book in this series, I had read a very limited amount of cozies. So maybe that's what's, coloring my experience at the moment. I don't know. But, I mean, okay, it's book number 19, so in a way I'm thinking please release one more, so at least you end on the round number of 20. But the passion just definitely seems to be gone. I'm glad we're in the courtroom, though, because the passion seems to be there in the courtroom. So if that's what Lee and Hollis needed, was to have the courtroom scenes happen for us to get some passion and some emotion in the book, then I'm glad for that. But on the whole, it's been a bit of a letdown so far. So at this stage, it's between a 3, a 3.5, and a 4 for me. And if it is a 3-star, then the main reason it's at least getting 3 stars from me is because of the courtroom drama, and also because of the mixed media. I do love the Island Times food and cocktail columns. I do love that. But yeah, I have to say, all in all, I am disappointed. Anyway, I am currently there, which is chapter 39. I'm listening to it on audiobook, and I'm just checking, just over an hour and 9 minutes left, to be done with this. So I'll definitely wrap this up and, check in with you again when I get to the end of this book and see if my thoughts and feelings have changed. But anyway, I hope you're having an amazing week, and, I'll check in with you in the next one. It is 6:52 p.m. on Thursday the 15th of January 2025, and I'm a lot more awake than I was when we last checked in. I have finished Death of a Tom Turkey by Lee and Hollis, Haley Powell's latest adventure. And if you cannot tell by my tone, I did not like this book. So, you'll remember where I left off, right? Talking about how Haley was very robotic, just things were very inauthentic, and the chapters and the way they were ending and things like that. Yeah, well, my sparklers... Where is it? Oh, it's there now. Yeah, I put it up on the... Yeah, anyway. And I've also, in case I forget to mention it, I have shifted around my books. My cozies on my Cessas are now here, and the Hunker Spunks are now on this shelf. Anyway, let's continue with this. Alright. It did not get any better. Okay, so we get to a point in the book where the gold digger guy is having a bit of an argument with the daughter of Tom, the one that inherited all of his money. Anyway, they're at this diner place, and Haley asks the waitress, who she knew quite well because they went to school together, what the heck was going on there. And according to the waitress, the gold digger guy, whose name is DJ, had told the girl whose name I forgot, but anyway, the one who received the money, anyway, the long-lost daughter, that's what we'll call her. We'll call her long-lost daughter. So, DJ was confessing to long-lost daughter that he had another relationship with someone else in town whose name was Becca. Turned out that Becca is actually Haley's daughter's best friend, and they know each other quite well. The only reason I bring this up is to discuss what happened moving forward from there. So, Haley and her partner end up driving directly to Becca's bookshop to confront her. And when she confronts Becca about the supposed affair she'd had with DJ, Haley is incredibly apathetic. And that's when I realized that's what's turning me off about this book. Throughout the entirety of the book, Haley is incredibly apathetic. She does not care. And it shone very brightly in this scene, given how close she is with Becca, given that Becca was her daughter's best friend, so they were very close. Haley was like a second mother, in a way, to Becca. And, so when Becca admits to the fact that, yep, she was having an affair with DJ, and she's quite, down about it and sad, she didn't know that it was an affair, DJ admitted it when he did, it was broken off, and, it was tough for Becca to go through, and she's reliving this with Haley. Haley doesn't care about Becca's feelings. She just plows on with more and more and more questions, which, okay, fine. If you must have an apathetic sleuth, that's fine. But this is book 19 in a series that I love. I know Haley. Haley is not apathetic, not at all. So it was just really weird seeing her being apathetic in that situation and then realizing that's exactly what she's done this whole entire book. She's been completely apathetic. Now, so yeah, I've taken some notes. That's why I'm glancing over here, because I took notes while I was reading the book. So I guess that's my whole point. Haley's way of going about sleuthing this entire time is very apathetic. At one point she spoke of the prosecutor. So remember how I was telling you how we were following the court case, which I really enjoyed. And she was, Haley was thinking that the prosecutor just wants the win. And I had to re-listen to that part, as I thought Haley was admitting that about herself, because that's exactly how it felt this whole book. I was like, oh, Haley, you're admitting it, even in your own mind, that all you want here is the win. All you want here is to find out who the murderer is and move on. And no. When I went back and re-listened, I realized, oh, she's talking about the prosecutor. Haley, you're calling the kettle, the pot black, whatever the saying is. That's exactly what you're doing right there. Okay, It's like she no longer cares about anyone else. She only cares about the case, no matter who she hurts, with her apathy. And then we got the reveal. Because by this point, I'm forgiving all this, thinking, okay, it's going to get 3 stars, which is an average rating for me, because there are still things I like. I love the courtroom scene. If it was literally just the courtroom scenes, like those 4 or 5 chapters, we were there for a while, then if that was all that was in the book, it would get 5 stars. If it was that with the food, island food and cocktail columns and the court case, and that was all, it would get 5 stars. So definitely was getting 3 stars. And then we got the bleeping reveal, and all I could think was, this is why I need my spoiler-filled vlogs. Because let's solve this, shall we? So someone who, I don't remember their name, but anyway, they call Hayley and tell Hayley they know Hayley's an amateur sleuth. They know exactly what happened to Tom, and they want to meet Hayley. So Hayley meets up with them, and, you know, I was a bit nervous thinking, okay, is this like the killer? But no, it wasn't. It was someone who really wanted to give her evidence. They had a video of exactly what happened. So Hayley ends up calling a meeting with the judge in their chambers because, of course, we can't reveal that right away, what she saw in the book. No, we have to wait until everyone's crowded around, then we can have the reveal, right? Anyway, so she's in the judge's chambers, the prosecutor's there, the defense is there, the defense client is there, you know, everyone's there, and she passes... I'm so sorry, that's my timer for the sprints that I'm doing. So anyway, she passes her phone with the loaded video over to the judge and says to the judge, oh, look, you can see here, judge, that this person, the one that was on trial, is definitely not guilty. It turns out it was a accident. No one killed Tom. Tom killed himself. He did not unalive himself intentionally, but Tom was stumbling around drunk. He ended up picking up one of his turkeys and was climbing a ladder. I don't know why he was climbing the ladder, but that was made apparent in the video. He grabbed the turkey and was climbing the ladder. Anyway, the turkey bit him. He fell off the ladder and fell into the wood chipper, and that's how he died. So if anyone was the murderer, it was the turkey. But even the turkey was unintentional. The whole thing was a bleeping accident, and that just really annoys me. So then we got that reveal, and I just thought, okay, yeah, 2 stars. It's not 3 stars, because with a cozy mystery, even if you're not trying to solve the case, you want to know what happened, and an accident is just the worst reveal. I would much rather it be a twin. And for those of you who know, you know why. For those of you who know about twin reveals, you know why I don't like twin reveals. I can't stand them. But I much rather a twin reveal than the reveal that, oh, he unalived himself, and it was a total accident, and we've been running around this whole book trying to solve this for no reason. Hayley is being absolutely apathetic and has her blinders on, and all she's focusing on is the win for nothing at all. Even when the suspect on trial thanked Hayley, and they were so remorseful and so grateful, thanking Hayley for what they did, Hayley basically spits at him saying, I didn't do this for you, which is not the Hayley I know and love. Honestly, this book really let me down. There were times when I was listening to the conclusion of this book between our last check-in and now, and I was thinking, are Lee and Hollis on a quest for bad ratings? Like, a lot of what they're doing, it's just really bad. I don't get it, because this is a really good series. So I don't understand. I wish I had more behind the scenes knowledge as to what was going on when this book was being written, because I don't know. To call this book a dud, it's not fair to all the other books in Cozy Mystery series that I call a dud. This was just a plain horrible book in a series that is truly wonderful. And I really don't understand it. I'm very confused. Oh, that's weird. I thought this book was book 19, but apparently it's book 18. I've just gone to fantasticfiction.com to find out if there is going to be another book in this series, and yes, there is. Book number 19 is coming out in September of 2026. It's called Death of a Grill Master. I really hope that that book goes back to, like, the others and being cozy, because this just was not it. I'm giving this 2 stars. I just can't justify giving it 3 stars. I can't. 2 stars for me for this one. So the next book that I'm going to start will be this book, The Whole Cat and Caboodle, which is hard to show you without light getting in the way, which I'm really sorry about. There we go! The Whole Cat and Caboodle by Sophie Ryan, yes, because I'm so used to calling her, this author, Sophie Kelly. I finished the A Magical Cats Cozy Mystery series last year, and while I initially intended to put the, whatever this is called, Second Chance Cat Cozy Mystery series onto my SAS list this year, I decided not to do that, and not to put that pressure on myself, but I still had already ordered book 1, and I'm grateful that I did, because I still want to give it a go and see what I think with this one. I loved the cats in the Magical Cats Cozy Mystery series, so I can't wait to see how I feel about the cats in this one. I loved the main character Amateur Sleuth in the Magical Cats in, I'll just say the other series to make it quick. I loved the Amateur Sleuth in the other series. I loved the love interest. I loved the friends. It was really, really, really cozy. So I'm hoping that this series continues on with that really, really, really cozy theme. But we'll see what happens. Alright, so I'll leave that there, and I'll check in with you all tomorrow when I've begun this one. It is Friday, the 16th of January, 2026. It is currently 7:42 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, I believe. Anyway, let's talk The Whole Cat and Caboodle, book number 1, the Second Chance Cat Mystery Series by Sophie Ryan. Okay, how much time do you have? The amount of times, and I'm making it sound like it's more than it actually is, so, I am over-exaggerating here because I'm trying to make a point. But the amount of times that I have read a cozy and complained saying, I really wish it would focus more on the theme. It is so mystery heavy. Why are we not getting more on the theme? And then we get to this book, and the theme is antiquing, something I couldn't care less about, and we are so focused on this theme that all I can think is, if only they did this with other books where I was interested in the theme, because with Sophie Ryan's other series, the Magical Cats Cozy Mystery series, which she writes under Sophie Kelly, the occupation of the main character is a librarian, and we don't focus on the library. The focus is more on Owen and Hercules. And while our protagonist Sarah Grayson, has a cat whose name is Elvis, and he's not magical, at least not from what I can see at the moment, although he merps! We gotta cover that. Because Sophie Kelly Ryan, same person, just different surnames on different series. So Sophie Kelly Ryan loves her cats merping. The moment it happened the first time in this book, I was like, oh, okay, Elvis merps too, huh? So, he loves his merping as much as Owen and Hercules do. But anyway, I'm just not a fan of antiquing, and this book celebrates antiquing. She's talking about it like every other second. We're not even really focused on the mystery. I am currently there. So there's a whole lot of time to go. I'm on chapter 8, page 112. I am 36% into the book so far. So that gives you a bit of an idea. But at this stage, we are fully, wholly, and completely, aside from maybe a chapter here or there, focusing on antiquing. And I have no interest. why can't the cozies that I love the idea of the theme of focus on the theme as much as Sophie Ryan, so saying Sophie Kelly, Sophie Ryan does in this book? I just don't get it. Elvis is fine. I haven't really, built a relationship with Elvis yet. I built a very strong, call me crazy, but when you read as much as I do, the characters become like family. And just like with family, some characters in books that I read I absolutely love, some I don't love, some I love to hate, some I'm a little, take it or leave it. And with Owen and Hercules, I fell in love with them very quickly. I think Elvis would take me a bit of time to fall in love with. And unfortunately for Sophie Ryan, unless this book really strongly improves, I'm glad it's not on my SAS list because I don't think I will be continuing. And that is purely because, for once, I don't care about the theme, but the theme is too well fleshed out, which is just annoying me so much. We're talking about guitars that need to be, refurbished or whatever, fixed, basically. We're talking about a table that has green paint on it, and it's probably oak underneath, and we're insisting that we're going to get rid of the green paint. I mean, I'd rather watch the paint dry, if you get my idea. It's like, no hate to any reader at all. And certainly no hate to any reader who loves antiquing. I'm just not one of them. And so, it's just driving me a little bit batty. So anyway, sorry about the noise there. That's my Discord. I thought I muted my laptop. I didn't. So, I got about 2 chapters into this book and decided I wanted to start another book. But rather than showing you that other book, I think it helped me committing to the fact that I would have 2 books going at once, that I went right back to this one and didn't even start the other one. I had the other one ready. I had the audio book ready to go. I had my bookmark ready in the other book. And it was like a sense of relief in me going, okay, I have something else in case I need it. Now I'm good to keep going, and I'm glad I did. I sped up the audio, I got to admit, because the narrator for this one, different narrators narrate at different speeds. If you all found this, if you listen to audiobooks like I do, some narrators on 1 times speed, you speed them up, they're really hard to understand because they're already talking faster already. Then there are others that you can speed up to 2 times speed and it sounds like they're talking at a normal pace. Like, seriously. And this narrator talks way too slowly for me. Also, they don't feel cozy to me. I want to find out who this narrator is. Just a moment. So the narrator is Marguerite Gavin. I don't know if you'll have heard Marguerite narrate. I can't think of that word. Narrate anything before. I'm just quickly looking through her stuff, seeing if I'm seeing anything else that is cozy. Okay, so she did the Cape Bay Cafe Mystery series by Harper Lynn. I'll just quickly pause. Oh, there you go. She's actually the narrator for the Pancake House Cozy Mystery series by Sarah Fox that I actually wanted to start at some point and just never did. I don't know why. Oh, hello. Just saw a really nice cover there. The book is called Galadon by Suzanne Eileen. It's book number 8 in the Dragon's Breath series. I won't put it up on the screen, but feel free to look up that audiobook and see the cover. Very nice. Yes, Miss Francy has just been hit over the head with the truth. This is the same narrator who narrates The Dangerous Type Cozy Mystery series by Paige Chilton, which was a buddy read I did many years ago. Many years ago. I really couldn't stand that book, and also, funny enough, it was dealing with restoration, like this book does. She deals with antiquing and restoration in this one. In that one, in Dangerous Type, they just deal with restoration. I didn't like her in that one. Maybe a big part of my issue is just I'm not a fan of Marguerite Gavin, and that's not me putting Marguerite Gavin down, because just like as readers, we are not a monolith. As audio listeners of audio books, yes, all of that. as audio listeners of audiobooks, we are not a monolith either. Some people love certain people, some people don't love certain people. For example, I love, what is her name again? I love Laurel Merlington from the Country Store Cozy Mystery series. She's the narrator of that one, the Country Store Cozy Mystery series being by Maddie Day. I love Laurel Merlington, and I know a lot of people who can't stand Laurel Merlington's narration. So we are all different. But yeah, this one for me, this narrator, Marguerite Gavin, she's just not for me. She's very dry, and in fact, she's made corrections in this audiobook. I don't know if it's actually her or other people, but you can tell a difference in tone, not necessarily in accent. But the worst part about it all is the corrections sound more cozy than the standard stuff, which is the majority of the recording. Have you ever had that before when you listen to an audiobook and you can tell, oh, they must have gone back in there and just sliced in an added sentence or a correction that needed to be made there, because you can tell just by how, connected the narrator's voice is, and then suddenly it's jarring and becomes a little different, and then goes back to that same connected sort of tone. Yeah, and that sounds the corrections sound so much more cozy than her standard stuff. Oh my goodness. So whether it be the narration or whether it be the actual contents in the book, I'm just not a fan at the moment. So, that is what it is. I will keep going. I plan to at least make it to 50% tonight. So I'm at 36%. I at least plan to make it to 50% tonight, if not further, and try and get this one finished by tomorrow. Look, if ever there was a book to DNF, this would definitely be one of them, but I want to do Sophie Ryan the service of finishing the book, because I might end up loving it. It might just be that I don't like the first 36% of the book, and I like the rest of it. So I will finish the book, but if it keeps going the way it's going, I'm definitely not continuing on with it. So we'll see how we go. Alright, I'll check in with you all again tomorrow, which I think will be my wrap-up of the spoilery stuff. So very quickly, I should tell you what the heck is going on in this book. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we follow Sarah Grayson, as I told you earlier. She runs this antique restoration shop. She also hosts classes. A student, a student client who's meant to show up doesn't show up. So she takes another student client, and everyone is in this small town, so they all know each other. She takes this woman back to the other woman's house who hadn't shown up, and the other woman is sitting there outside on the outside dining table area, and next to her is a dead man sitting in a chair, and we don't know how he died. We just know that he's there. The woman who didn't show up, who's sitting next to him, strongly loved him, felt like she couldn't leave him, and so what's her name? Sarah. Anyway, Sarah, I'm clearly not used to the character names yet. Sarah ends up calling the cops and all that, and they take the other woman away so she doesn't have to be with the body anymore. And we're really not focusing on the mystery. We're really focusing on the antiquing and the restoration, which is wonderful, but I don't like antiquing and restoration. So we'll talk more tomorrow. I'll see you then. It is Saturday, the 17th of January, at 6:50 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Hello. And it is time to wrap up what has been a mammoth spoiler-filled vlog. I need to find a way to shorten these, because I'm sure that this is way too long already. But if you have made it this far, leave me a thumbs up emoji. I'd like to see who's made it this far. Anyway, let's talk the whole cat and caboodle. Book number 1, The Second Chance Cozy Mystery Series by Sophie Ryan, aka Sophie Kelly, who wrote the Magical Cats Cozy Mystery Series. I finished this book. I really don't... Thank you, Airwick Freshmatic. I really don't have a lot to say about this at all. I am so glad I read this book and did not add it onto my SAS list, because I did not enjoy the book. I Love the cat, Elvis. He took a bit to grow on me, but eventually I did fall in love with Elvis, but I don't like our main character, Sarah. Yeah, Sarah. I don't like our main character, Sarah, at all. I did not find the mystery to be intriguing. I did not enjoy the cozy theme side. I just really did not enjoy this book. So I don't have a lot that I want to dive into about this book either. I just kind of want to say I read it, I'm thankful I did, and move on. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I ultimately gave this one 2 stars. So let's move on to what I'm currently reading. So I'm currently actually reading 2 books at once, and it's been a while since I read more than 1 book at one time. And for those of you who aren't aware, I don't literally read 2 books at once. I have 2 books going, I should say, within the same time frame, and I choose which one I'm going to go to when I'm going to go to it. And I think the reason for this is because I've now, at this point, having finished The Whole Cat and Caboodle, gone through 2 cozy mysteries that I really just did not enjoy, and I was in a bit of a slump. So my next book that I was due to pick up, I did pick up, which is this book, A Wonderful Christmas Crime by Jacqueline Frost. This is book number 1 in the, no, it's not. It's definitely not book number 1. I don't know why I said that. This is book number 6 in the Christmas Tree Farm Cozy Mystery series. I've read all the other 5, and I know that it's not Christmas right now, but I started, I guess, a tradition last year where I read the new release in this series in January. So, yeah, so I've started this one, but also wanted to have something else going at the same time, because I did start to wonder, maybe it's just cozies, maybe I'm not in the mood for it, and I really want to go and stick with my mood. So I also started a read of I don't even know what the genre is. Just a moment. Okay, I should have just trusted myself. It's an adult male dark romance, and it's been really interesting. That is this book, The Contract, by Rena Saint. I am a chapter into this one, and we'll talk about this one momentarily. It's interesting, though, because I picked this one up after a chapter of reading this one, thinking I'll go back and forth and they'll offset each other really, really well. Speaking of the 2 of them together, they do offset each other really, really well. But the moment I put the bookmark into this one, had the audiobook ready to go, I decided to just keep going with this one, and then that was yesterday? No. Sorry. I lie. It wasn't after starting this one. It was during reading Whole Cat and Caboodle that I had the audiobook ready to go and the bookmark ready to go in this one, but I did not start it yesterday. It motivated me to keep going through the Whole Cat and Caboodle and finish that book before I even started this one. So then I got a chapter into this one, then read a chapter of this one, and then went back and continued on with this one. So we will start with A Wonderful Christmas Crime. As I say, book number 6 in the Christmas Tree Farm Cozy Mystery series by Jacqueline Frost, an adult cozy mystery series that revolves around Holly White, who lives in Mistletoe in Maine. Every book in this series is set around Christmas time and includes her currently, at the moment, running an inn, but also her mother, since book 1, runs a diner, and they have these reindeer games that occur every single year. So it's extremely Christmassy. There's like 5 different games that everyone gets involved in, and the mysteries are pretty interesting too. One thing that I do have to point out, given the duds that I just came off reading, is how much I love what Julianne Hatcher, anyway, as Jacqueline Frost, does in this series. It is so cozy. It is so beautifully descriptive. I am someone who needs my cozy theme to shine, but I'm also someone who can't stand The Lord of the Rings because J.R.R. Tolkien is way too descriptive in those books. So I need some sort of medium, and definitely Julianne Hatcher as Jacqueline Frost hits that medium perfectly for me. It's like you feel the snow around you, you feel the warm fire, you experience all the senses with food and fun and warmth and games, and it's just really, really, really beautiful. So the mystery for this one is that they're doing this like touring meal. It's kind of like a Decca meal thing. I forgot what it's called, but Decca meal where you start in one place and you have an appetizer, then you move to another place and you have maybe like an entree, and then you go to another place and you have a main, and so on and so forth. And this has been organized by the town. The first place they go to for the appetizers is at Cup and Cheery, run by this woman named Alice, who we met in the previous book. Now, it's been a year since I read the previous one, so I had forgotten about Alice. Alice comes from Sweden, and as part of Swedish tradition, they celebrate goats, which of course Cookie Cutter, who is in this series, who has her own goat, absolutely loves. So they arrive there, they see all these like goat figurines and things like that displayed around the place, which is great. The appetizers are fine, but Alice gets into a bit of a scuffle with someone who seems like she wants to take off with one of her goat things. And then this woman, that night ends up being murdered, and now Alice is heavily implied as being the suspect. So we have, Holly and her friends trying to solve the case. And because it is a spoiler vlog, I can say this as well. The book actually opens up with something really amazing for the arc of this series. Holly is pregnant. Her doctor lets her know that she and her partner are going to be expecting a baby in the summer. So it also, not only is that beautiful, but also makes the story interesting because Holly can't actively go about trying to solve this murder mystery. She needs to do it from home. So where I'm at currently, Holly is actually at home with like 3 different laptop screens doing a lot of research for her husband, and her husband's sister has decided to become a private eye. So the husband, who is a cop or detective, one of the two, and his sister, who's a private eye, are both actively investigating it while she is passively researching it. And it's going really, really well. Really enjoying this one. As for The Contract by Rena Saint, it took me a moment to get into. Given I've only read a chapter, a moment is literally a blip. It's like, it's nothing. It's like a nanosecond, basically. So the long and short of what I've established for the premise of this one, within the space of the one chapter I've read, because in case you don't know, hello there, my name is Mr. Francy. I don't read premises. I go into books blind. I see something like this, where we have Hunker Spunk on the cover, and the series title is called Dangerous Games. I love games in my books, and I decided I'm going to read this. So what I'm gathering from chapter 1 is that it's a dual perspective. We are following Dante. I'm trying really hard not to read the premise on the back, just the names. Dante and Tristan. The book opens up with chapter 1 in Tristan's perspective. Tristan has taken a job at a nightclub called Lush. The reason for this is because his brother, to cut a long story very short because there's more to it, but his brother has gone missing. And the last time that Tristan saw his brother just happened to mention the name Lorenzo Capelli. I had to think for a second there. Lorenzo Capelli. And so because I'm going to mute that because, name Tristan. Because Tristan wants to find his brother, whose name is Evan. He tries to get a job at Lorenzo Capelli's business, but he doesn't even make it past reception. But he does learn that Lorenzo and his people, whatever that means, are very intrigued by, and they are the kind of people who go to this nightclub called Lush, which is, yeah, Lush seems to be the perfect word for this nightclub because there's the upstairs where, you know, it's like a standard club, and then there's the downstairs where things are going on that we haven't seen yet but have been heavily implied. Anyway, so I'm really intrigued by this because at the moment, if you've been watching my spoiler-free vlogs, you know I'm currently watching Spanish thriller mystery shows that I'm really loving, and so the idea of this being a male-male dark romance that has this mystery element in it where we are trying to find this long-lost brother by any means necessary, I'm really intrigued by that. So it is, I believe, Tristan's first night, or at least his first Friday. It's mentioned that it's Friday. And he serves a drink to this very attractive guy. Tristan doesn't put a label on himself, but knows that he's not gay, but he becomes brother. His body reacts to this guy, let's just put it that way. Nothing has happened. He just realizes this, and in his mind, he's thinking, hang on, I'm not gay. Not that I would mind if I'm gay, and whatever, but, you know, Anyway, so this guy whose name is Dante, is friends of the owner of the club, whose name is Raphael. We have not met Raphael yet. We have met the manager of the club, whose name I have forgotten temporarily. Name is, where are we? Sailor. And Tristan feels very comfortable around Sailor because Sailor is a lesbian. And so, I have to make this point as well. I'm trying to wrap it up and I'm trying to shorten these videos, but there's just more that needs to be said. Tristan is incredibly attractive, even though he doesn't see himself as being attractive at all. So that's very interesting. He makes the point at one stage saying, when I see myself in front of the mirror, I see what other people say, but the moment I walk away from the mirror, I feel like a loser and like I'm not attractive at all. But his physical appearance is what scored him the job. Raphael, as I say, we haven't met him yet, but Tristan recalls that Raphael hired him because he is very good looking. So he was fortunate in that case to get this job at Lush, and now we're going to try and see what we can find out, if we can track down Lorenzo and see what's going on. But anyway, he goes to serve a drink to this guy named Dante, and as I say, he finds himself very physically attracted to Dante and is questioning what is going on here. And the chapter leaves off with Dante needing to go and speak to Raphael downstairs about something, and in chapter 2 we follow Dante's perspective. So I am intrigued to see what's going to happen here. I'm going to really take my time with this one. I actually plan to have this on my March TBR, so I'm pulling it from a very future TBR, and I'm going to go very slowly through this one, but I'm very, very intrigued. So even though I came off of 2 duds this week, so far, both of these have been really amazing. But that is where we'll wrap it up because this is way too long. I will try and condense this next time, but I hope you've been enjoying the journey, whether you listen to it all the way through or you took breaks here and there, watched it over a couple of days, whatever it is. I hope you have been enjoying your reads, and I hope that next week's spoiler-free vlog will contain, well, hopefully this keeps going, books that I really love, because I did not intend for this to be a ranting, raving, negative, spoiler-filled vlog. It just went that way. Alright, letting you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind, please do love one another, and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world, yeah! And until next time, happy reading, bye everyone!